Looking for peace of mind during uncertain times? Export Development Canada has economic insights, quarterly outlooks, and country risk reports to help you make informed decisions when it matters most. Discover tools to grow your business and maximize your export potential at edc.ca/economics. Welcome back to the Export Impact Podcast, brought to you by Export Development Canada. I'm Bruce Croxton, the host of the Export Impact Podcast. On today's episode, we're talking trade, tariffs, and tenacity with a business leader who has helped steer her company through recessions, rapid growth, and very complex global supply chains. Jade is a partner at LH Imports, a Vancouver-based furniture company that specializes in the import and distribution of home furnishings across North America. With operations spanning Canada, the US, and Mexico, and a business model that crosses borders multiple times, LH is deeply impacted by trade policies, tariffs, and international shipping realities. Jade brings years of on-the-ground experience navigating those challenges, and she's here to share what she's learned. I'd like to begin today's episode by acknowledging that we're recording from my office in Toronto, which is on the traditional unceded territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis. We value taking this moment to deepen the appreciation of our Indigenous communities, wherever we are, and remind ourselves of our shared debt to Canada's First Peoples. Welcome to the show, Jade. Very happy to have you join us today. We're really looking forward to hear your story.
Bruce, thank you so much. I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah, we've been trying to get this one together for a while. Great honor, but I'm glad we got to pull it together, and thanks for taking the time. For those that may not be familiar with your business, can you give us just sort of a snapshot of the company? You know, what you do, who your clients are, and, maybe some of the recognizable consumer brands like Restoration Hardware, Wayfair. I mean, Round 13, my investment company, has an investment in Article, for example, another Vancouver-based e-commerce furniture store. Where do you fit there, and how does the business work?
So we're definitely competitors on a, no good or bad side. So we are working with businesses, so designers, retailers, architects, builders, hotels, restaurants, and like you mentioned, through Canada, US, and Mexico. So you don't always see our brand. We're definitely behind the scenes, but you will see us on Wayfair and on different platforms as well, online throughout all of those countries that I just mentioned.
So how is your business broken down between sort of business to business then, where you're supplying outlets like hotels, and direct to consumer? Or it's actually not necessarily direct to consumer, it goes through sites like Wayfair?
Yeah, so we have some business partners that are online, and then we also have different products. So when it comes to hotels and restaurants and hospitality, we do a lot of customization, which we actually don't market enough at the moment. It's more who we come in contact with. But we'll customize. We have a team overseas in Vietnam that helps us to make the best product, quality control, and make all of that happen. Then on the B2B side, of course, there's our brick and mortar is the bulk of our business throughout North America, with a huge growth happening in our hospitality sector because of our ability to be flexible and customized.
And by brick and mortar, you mean selling into brick and mortar. You don't have LH stores popping up all over the place. Okay, gotcha.
Right. We sell to retailers. As for where we fit in with the price level, when it comes to Perigold or Wayfair, we're definitely on their mid to higher level price point. We are not the prices of Restoration Hardware. We're probably set right under the price levels of kind of West Elm and Pottery Barn when it comes to the retail prices. But the quality and the material and everything that goes into it is on that level. We're still working in solid woods, solid marble, and unique materials.
I mean, sourcing materials and keeping track of who's supplying what and under what kind of pricing must be huge. Do you bring the materials into Canada and put it together and then out it goes? Is that how it works?
We basically import the furniture from different countries. So Vietnam, India, That being said, we do have some Canadian made product on the upholstery side, mostly due to what we're about to talk about, tariffs. But yeah, it is imported. And from there, we distribute it. And some things will be imported specifically for one customer only, and other items will be specifically imported for our distribution in volume to retailers and designers.
And when did LH sort of first start exporting beyond Canada? I mean, the roots were bring it in, sell it to Canadian customers, and now you're like US, Mexico, and I do want to ask, what percentage of the business is between all those three countries? But what first prompted the move? How was it executed initially?
So I have been with LH for almost 16 years. When I first joined Lisa, my partner, we were very much Canadian based, a few collections. And as we grew the Canadian business as the main focus, we started with a Seattle gift show. And at that time, we saw that there was a lot of potential. So from there, let's say that was 5 years in, so maybe 10, 11 years ago, when we really started to look at the US market. At that time, it was a little bit scary.
Yeah, it is a big move, Jade, to hop off into the States for the first time. And, a lot of our listeners are tuning in because, EDC, they want to look beyond our borders and think about international expansion. What was scary about it for you? And what did you encounter and how did you overcome it for the benefit of our listeners?
At first, it was more about payment, I think was one of the things we were most worried about. In Canada, you could very easily go and have a sales rep go knock on a door and look for payment if you needed to. And the other thing was crossing the border. What did the paperwork look like? Who were our contacts going to be? And so we reached out to different customs brokers. We already were working with one, obviously, for our import side of business. And so that was the best option that we went with. And then we did reach out to EDC in the early stages, and they supported us with insurance on orders that were going out, which gave us a lot more confidence in continuing to grow the export side of the business.
And as we look at the business today, flash forward, 2025, what percentage of the business is Canada, US, and I think I heard Mexico too is one of your markets?
So our business is about 50% in Canada, US about 45%, and Mexico 5%. All of that's about to change. Yeah.
Maybe this is the lead into our next topic then, and change and uncertainty. And I got to imagine that a lot of this, particularly in your business, is linked to the tariffs and how things seemingly change every day as we record this in September 2025. How have you navigated the tariffs and how have you stayed on top of it? What changes has it prompted in the model? How has it impacted your life?
Ooh, okay. Deep question. Over the past 8 months, it's been very interesting. When the tariff first started to kick in was in January, all the talks of them coming and so forth. So today, where we're at is we're looking at other markets because it is really difficult as a Canadian business importing into Canada, exporting into the US. We're at a complete disadvantage with our US competitors in the sense that they're landing their product into the US direct and therefore they're paying their tariff on their cost. For us, we sell it from Canada into the US. That means we're paying the tariff, or the customers, if it gets passed down, are paying the tariff on the selling price. It's pretty much double the tariff for us, shipping from Canada into the US. So one aspect has been looking at different markets, which is going well and is exciting. And the other is doing different things. So we've looked at a Vietnam consolidation warehouse. And so we'll be able to supply our customers in the US directly from our Vietnam warehouse. Prices, we've had to modify our prices to include part of the tariffs on the US side. So it's definitely increased prices there. At the same time, we're very value driven. So, there's always been a gap against a lot of our competitors that we've been up against. So now it's just that our prices have come closer together. And so less of a price point competitive edge and more, the other things that we offer, the unique product. Customer service is extremely important to us. And what we understand is that's harder to find these days. And then the last thing that I should point out is communication. So the transparency has been extremely important. And we found that our partners in the US have appreciated at least that, where, we're providing the updates on how it impacts the product and prices. And some of our customers and partners even say that the most information they get on tariffs is from us. Not sure if that's a good or a bad thing, but it's an interesting one.
No, I think it does. And I think it's a theme I'm hearing over and over again. It's tough to click on the news without seeing the emphasis being on, hey, we've relied so heavily on this convenient market to the south. I'm not saying that we've been lazy, but it's been tough to ignore, when 45% of your business is just over the border, and then you wake up one day and it's not so easy, forcing us into markets that, under different circumstances, we would have been exploring anyway. So it's, in some ways, it's forcing change that is a good thing. But God, it's got to be painful in the short term. Is it an option to set up down there and import directly into the US?
Yes. So we have looked at that. We do have third-party partners. We've warehoused in the US previously, and then it was unneeded. So we pulled out and we just continued to warehouse in Vancouver. But we do still have partners, across the border that are there to receive from our Vietnam warehouse, for example. So there are other solutions. It's just seeming like on the midterm, where should our focus be? The US was a huge market for us. I mean, we have trade show presence at the world's largest trade show, High Point, North Carolina, for furniture, Las Vegas market as well. And we were looking at others. So coming into this year, the US market was actually, our growth plan. So it's definitely a challenge that we're overcoming. The good thing is we've been, growing our Mexico business over just the last few years. So it's really picking up. And so we're excited about that. But at the same time, if the tariffs keep changing so drastically, from 10% to 50% to 30%, and every week you don't know, it doesn't excite us to go bigger and full force at this exact time.
Yeah, it's very paralyzing, right? And as we record this, there's rumors that they're going to target the furniture industry specifically, I hear, for even more tariffs. Don't know why, but that's a rumor. And I guess the only hope we have is this is time sensitive, but challenge on Trump's ability to put tariffs on is going before the Supreme Court. Maybe the whole thing will be illegal and roll back and we go back to business as usual, but you've opened up a whole other handful of markets as well on top of that, right? Let's hope for the best.
So on that, you're right. They are supposed to be going to the Supreme Court soon. What we're hearing through our industry is maybe one of the reasons to look at furniture as a whole is because a lot of furniture many years ago was produced in the United States. And if you look at metal, the metal tariff is not one that is being classified as illegal. So perhaps the furniture tariff could also be, a way that a tariff stays. That's my take on what I understand and what my partner understands from it. It changes. So, I can't speak fully to understand that completely, but that is one take on it, is that, if the other tariffs do go away, well, maybe the metal tariff will stay, maybe a furniture tariff will stay, which is, again, just another reason why it's so challenging to work in this market at the moment. And it's unfortunate because, we've worked with our American partners the same way we work with our Canadian partners. We have really great relationships. We love traveling there and visiting our customers. And it's really sad, actually, for us anyways.
I hear it in your voice and I hear the challenges that a lot of small businesses are trying to combat. And being a lifelong entrepreneur myself, I've got so much empathy for what you guys are going through. It's hard enough as it is to grow and scale and survive as a small business. And then you throw this stuff on top. It's a real test to your resilience. Any tips for people that are up against it or having to grind through this time of uncertainty? And how are you doing it personally? Like, is it just, what do you do? Double down?
Communication is super important. As we receive information or as we're seeing information, we have meetings with our whole team daily or weekly just to bring everyone up to speed so that when they're talking with their customers directly, they have the information they need and it's current. Being flexible and willing to change. We've always been like that. If something has to change, we're not going to give it too much thought before making a change. If you wait too long, then you've passed your opportunity. So I think being flexible and having your team flexible is super important. And to do that, I think transparency and communication are probably the most important. It's stressful, it's challenging, but I show up with a smile and, we're going to make it through this. And I feel strongly about that. And I tell our team that we are a smaller to medium-sized company. And so because of that, we have the ability to adjust and change maybe more rapidly. Just letting them know that in 2008, when I first came into the company, it was a recession here in Canada and we grew during it. And then the pandemic, things shut down. We didn't know what was going to happen. And we came up with some ideas as a team and we put them out there and we came out of it stronger than ever. Mind you, our industry in general did have some strong years during the pandemic because people were traveling less, their money was shifted to different things. That was one thing of it. But right when the pandemic kind of shut everything down, we got together and we were communicating and figuring out what we need to do. What are people thinking? What our retailers need? And so our focus was always on also our partners. So what are partners lacking right now? And a lot of it was they just needed to know that they had their vendor support. And I think the same thing is kind of relevant now. The furniture industry is one that is experiencing some significant challenge. It's high price items that are coming in often by import. And so the tariffs are high and they're changing. We're there for our partners. If they come to us and they let us know what they need, then individually our team members are going through that with them and walking through, what we can do on our side. Can we shift you to a different product? Can you wait for something that doesn't have so much metal? Because now there's metal tariffs as well that are quite high. Is this something that we need to offer a discount for this one order so that your customer in the end is satisfied and gets what they need through this challenging time? So yeah, communication is, I think, the most important thing along with flexibility.
Yeah, it sounds like you've developed a real culture there of resilience and open-mindedness and we're in it together kind of thing. So yeah, good for you. Just shifting gears for a second, you are a women-led business, yourself and your partner, which is a rarity, I would say, statistically in North America. We talked a little bit off camera that given all the things that are going on, it's not something that you've actively marketed, but I think it's notable enough that I would love to talk to you about it. Have you experienced any challenges in your industry or in business in general as a woman leader? Do you have some words on the topic for other potential women leaders? I know you have a daughter that's probably watching your every move through this time. Talk to us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, so I would say going way back to maybe not 16 years ago, but when I first started with the business, being a young woman in the industry, I found quite challenging. We would go to trade shows internationally, and it was very much a man's world in our industry. Over time, it's changed a fair amount where it's a lot more women in the industry as well, which is great to see in different types of businesses that are related to furniture. I think the challenges were maybe the way, we were taken. So it felt at times you weren't taken as seriously. And that was something that I had to overcome for myself and also not worry about it. I guess my tip would be to not change your personality for this. If you want to be fun and happy and someone wants to take that less serious, that's okay. What matters is that you take your business serious and you go in with the confidence that you need to lead your team or lead your operations. So I think don't lose yourself in it. That's an important thing. It is changing. There is more women coming into business. We are proud of it. It's just something that, while we're busy, like you said, it doesn't come to the forefront of something we can focus on right now, but we are proud of it. And we really hope to see more women come into the business. On the trade show side, we see a lot more women businesses, whether they're design, retail owners, online entrepreneurs. There's a ton of different companies that are coming out and really unique ones as well. So I mentioned we work with retailers and designers and all these types of businesses, but some unique ones like rental furniture companies and just unique design companies are popping up. Like there's a design group that we just started working with, and they are based in North Carolina, but it is all women owned, and we just keep coming across more and more.
Well, listen, challenging times, women-led business, which brings some challenges to the front that you've briefly touched on as well. So I've got so much respect for Canadian-owned and fighting the fight, and it is a tough time, but I think the audience is really going to appreciate your message of resilience and some great tips there on how to navigate it. So really do appreciate your time and insights today, and it's been a real pleasure hearing the story, and all the best and good luck to you moving forward.
Thank you so much, Bruce, for the opportunity, and to EDC.
Thanks for joining us today on the Export Impact Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review on your favorite streaming platform. Until next time,